In this video, I want to talk about LandBridge because we just had a massive update for the investment thesis, which is really bullish, and it increases the likelihood that data centers are coming. And because of this news, the stock went up 10% yesterday, and it would be pretty interesting to follow the story. So what will we do in this video? I will comment on LandBridge, the company overall. I will talk about the latest deal we had with energy, the company, and we will talk about the global strategy for LandBridge. How will management react now that we have an additional bullish signal for the long term? So I have a couple of tabs to show you what the company will do in the future, and I think the thesis just got better. So it will be an action-packed video. I hope you will like it. And I own LandBridge, so this is a disclosure. I own LandBridge. This is roughly 5 or 6% of my portfolio, and I'm very happy to see the development of this story. I think this is a stock that has a lot of potential in the future. You have some risks, yes, we'll talk about that in this video, but you have a lot of potential, and it all revolves about the management team if they execute well. Okay, so I think we can start. In case this is your first video from this channel, welcome. My name is Christophe Nour. I've been investing in the stock market for almost a decade now, and I have achieved a performance of 25% per year. And the goal with this channel is to help you become a better investor and outperform the market. So now that you have seen the tabs I have prepared for you, let me read some notes that I have, and it will be a recap of the whole thesis of LandBridge. It will be easier this way. So let's talk about the core business, the foundation. LandBridge, in case you don't know the company, they own lands in Texas. Okay, it's a new company from 2021, and over the years it has raised some capital. In 2024 they became public. It's a spin-off from Waterbridge. They work with multiple companies at the same time from private equity. The core business of LandBridge is owning the lands and getting a royalty every time something is happening on their lands. Pretty simple business model, right? LandBridge bread and butter are the surface rights plus produced water management in the Delaware Basin. Think of TPL. If you know this company, Texas Pacific Land, you will understand very quickly what LandBridge is doing. I've been investing in TPL for a while. I made a 10x on the stock. I've been following the story for many years now, and made a lot of money on this one. So TPL, same thing. They own lands in Texas. Very high margins. Look at this. Gross margins of 90%. They don't have any capex. They don't have any costs. They don't have any employees. They just are a pure profit in case you drill more oil in Texas, in case you need more water in Texas. Okay, so there is a difference between TPL and LandBridge. TPL is about oil, and LandBridge is about water. Only less than 10% of the revenues of LandBridge comes from oil. Okay, so 90% of the revenue, what moves LandBridge, is around the water, I would say, not oil at all. How it works? So how does LandBridge make money? Oil companies, they pump oil, they drill oil, they also produce a ton of water. In the Texas area, the ratio is 4:1. So for each barrel of oil, you need 4 barrels of water. And over the years, this ratio has increased, which means in the future, it's very likely this ratio increases, which means you will need additional water in the future. Who will benefit the most out of this trend? LandBridge. That water has to be disposed of safely. So LandBridge controls pore space, surface use rights, and water infrastructure. Basically, all the infrastructure, the pipes, the management of the water, all the water that is pumped to drill some oil. See, this wasted water needs to be thrown away, disposed of. So you put the water on the ground, under the surface, but where? And LandBridge offers this. So it's not only a water play, land management play, how do you say it, garbage play, when you can dispose of all this water. They do a lot of things on their lands. What is great is LandBridge doesn't have any capex. They don't make the investments because LandBridge is working directly with Waterbridge. Waterbridge that just IPO'd, they just went public. The ticker symbol is WBI. And they just became public. It's a smaller company, I would say, but very interesting also. What is great is because they work together, Waterbridge is having all the capex. That's a C for capex. They have all the costs. They are doing all the water infrastructure stuff on LandBridge's land. So Waterbridge is having all the costs and LandBridge is having, I would say, all the margins. Let me put a M for margins, C for costs. So you have a relationship between the two of them. You have other relationships, but don't worry. You will have plenty of information on this video so you can understand the full picture of what LandBridge will look like in the future. Okay, so now that you have understood a little bit the business model of LandBridge, how simple it is, how high margins it is, let me continue. You had a new agreement that was released in Q2 2025, so second quarter of 2025. They announced a new deal with Devon. I think I have here, here we go. This is a tab. In June 2025, they announced something new. It's in June or August or anyway, I mean, it's in the summer. And they announced a new agreement, a multi-year agreement with Devon to just take care of the water for many years. As I told you, as I started this video with, you need a lot of water to handle all this capacity. You will have a 10-year deal starting in 2027. The reserves pore space for 300,000 barrels per day. Devon commits to at least 200k pound usage and provides long-term contracted recurring revenue. What is great and what is also a risk is that LandBridge is developing right now new agreements, new contracts with many companies at the same time, but all of these contracts are not making money now. All of these contracts will start in future years, which triggered one question in the latest earnings call, which is, how do you make money now? Which is a great question. But LandBridge is doing a lot of deals, a lot of agreements with many partners. They will all start to make money in 2027. They will all generate massive revenue, earnings, free cash flows in the future. So the future is very bright for LandBridge. And as the story develops, they will have more agreements to handle more capacity, more water volumes, okay? So this is a big deal with Devon. They will handle a deal for, this is a deal for 10 years, so this is massive. The side of the business, this side, the foundation, the core business of just handling the water creates cash flow stability and a moat. Who can disrupt them? They have the lands. Nobody can steal their lands. Land rights are hard to replicate. By the way, if you're looking for a complete framework to analyze stocks and build a strong portfolio, I have a coaching program. More on that at the end of the video. Similarly to TPL, the moat is a huge moat, I would say, a very wide moat that nobody can steal. Nobody can disrupt. You have the lands. You can do whatever you want on your lands. You are literally the boss here. Let me continue now. The data center play, the optionality. So now that we have talked about the core business of LandBridge, let me talk about the data center play, which is linked to the piece of news we had very recently. This will bring you optionality. By the way, the core segment in water infrastructure is a high margin segment that can grow 10-15% per year. Only this, only the foundation. What I will talk about now is a call option, okay, that you can get almost for free. So that's the data center play, the optionality. We've had a couple of piece of news, I would say, regarding this optionality because of different dates. And let me remind you of what happened. So when LandBridge went public through an IPO, They said they had the plan of welcoming a data center on their lands. Fair enough, but they had no proof, no customer, no gas supplier, no plant. It was only a promise. And in November 2024, we learned that there was a lease development agreement. Somebody was interested in having a data center on their lands. So that's the first positive news, I would say. So it will be for 2,000 acres in Reeves County reserved for a data center project. You had an account, like a promise of $8 million non-refundable deposit paid. By the way, this can be an accounting risk because they immediately recognize this $8 million as revenue. This is not revenue, this is an account that you promise to pay. Okay, fair enough. So somebody already paid $8 million to potentially have a deal here, and the developer has 2 years to kick off site development and 4 years for construction. So it was in November 2024. They have 2 years, so November 2026 up to this date, to select the area where they will locate the data center. And they have the optionality. They can say, no, we'll just pay $8 million and move on and do something else with our life. So far, this is a promise, but no action taken so far. Yeah, this is what I said. You had an accounting controversy. Accounting controversy aside, this was the first real signal LandBridge wants to monetize land through digital infrastructure. In a recent interview, in I would say late 2024, so less than 1 year ago, the chairman, David Capobianco, talked about their plan of having powered lands on LandBridge's land. What they want to do in the future is to have a lot of lands where you can have water infrastructure, data center plays, energy infrastructure, all connected together so that you can have powered lands. This business model, so the bright vision they have in the future, is very, I would say, profitable, giving us huge free cash flow margins, huge rewards. And if they are right, if they can go to this promised land, we will be very wealthy shareholders. Let's put it this way. The next piece of news we had when it comes to this data center play, optionality, was actually 1 day ago, 2 days ago, the NRG energy agreement. Energy to potentially build 1 gigawatt, 1,100 megawatt natural gas power plant, grid connected. Okay, so the problem LandBridge had was they had a lot of land, but you don't have the gas infrastructure over there. What is great is in this region, you have the Waha region, gas is almost free. So what kind of energy will you use to host these data center plays? Nuclear, you don't have nuclear plants over there. Oil, not that efficient. Gas, yeah, it's free to have gas over there. So we've been knowing this for months and years actually. Gas is the way to go in Texas to host data center plays. So this is exactly what they will do. And they entered into an agreement with an energy company, which is great. So this company would supply electricity to a hyperscale data center on LandBridge land. You have permits plus interconnection requests already filed, and earliest operational date late 2029. Location advantage next to Waha hub, so you have cheap gas. I mean, it's almost a free gas, good transmission infrastructure, and the market reaction, the stock jumped 10% of this news that we learned yesterday. I read the report. The report is here. And what they say is literally, in case LandBridge has a data center play here, we will develop this gas infrastructure. In case you don't have a data center play, we'll move on with our life and we'll never talk again. So we'll never speak again. So it's a lot of ifs, it's a lot of optionality, but maybe LandBridge needs this to welcome a data center play, LandBridge needs to be appealing. LandBridge needs to convince the data center players that yes, if you come, you will have energy. If you come, we'll take care of you. If you come, you will have a great amount of lands where you will have electricity, gas, whatever you need, water, infrastructure, cooling systems. So yes, they need these pre-agreements with electricity, water, to just be more welcoming, I would say. It's a risk, but also an opportunity. Now, I mean, LandBridge is currently in talks. They already have an agreement. Somebody is interested in developing a data center play here. They will be more convincing. If you come, you will already have electricity. We have a deal with NRG. Okay. Why this matters? NRG is a serious player. I mean, it's a big company. What's the market cap of NRG? That's a good company, by the way. The market cap is $30 billion. And yeah, we're talking about a company that is thriving since 2021, right? If you want to be invested in an energy play, that's maybe the way to go. You have a couple of players in the energy department, NRG, Vistra, Talen, Constellation Energy. You have plenty of companies like this. NRG Energy is a big boy. It's a big company in this area. So it's a serious player. This isn't just a small speculative land lease. Yeah, you may want to make an agreement with somebody reliable that confirms LandBridge can attract top tier partners. Actually, we already knew about this deal. During the second quarter of 2025, they already, look at this. So, second quarter of 2025, and if you look at recent milestones, you have 3 lines. The second line is this. So we already knew this. Executed a lease option agreement with a leading independent power producer for the development, construction, and operation of a grid-connected natural gas combined cycle gas turbine plant to service future potential co-located data center load. So you kind of had rumors that it would be NRG actually, but I will talk about this later. So yeah, this matters. It's official. We have this information. Moves the data center thesis from idea to execution path. Yeah, they will become more convincing now to acquire a customer, I would say. NRG and LandBridge will explore a site, and NRG will provide the power for any potential data center. Maybe an announcement of a data center coming at some point, but it is certainly not a given. So as I told you, that's a lot of optionality. If a data center comes, if you have somebody, we will be here at the earliest date, late 2029. I mean, you have 4 years of waiting. So a lot of things can happen. A lot of things can go wrong, actually. So that's a lot of ifs. That's a lot of optionality. But by the time it may be a reality, like by the time you have a deal, a data center deal, the stock price of LandBridge will be above $100. So what is really funny about LandBridge, you have a stock price that is volatile, going up and down, depending on the mood, the sentiment. And when the stock price went up, the people say, oh, okay, data centers are coming. And then the stock goes down and, prices drive a narrative. They say, oh, okay, the optionality is dead. Data centers will never go to Texas. It's always like this. And for the past few months, the stock has been declining. The trend faded away. People did not believe much in a data center in Texas. You had a lot of worries. But I'm telling you, if one day we have a clear announcement, it can be this year, next year, in 2 years. If you have one clear announcement, the stock will skyrocket. I'm pretty confident in what I say. We'll see if it goes well, if it ages well. If we have this reality of having a real data center, like a clear announcement, the stock price, the shares will probably be over $100. And now they are at $50. In the current market regime, if it still persists, make your bet. I'm buying LandBridge because I think it will happen eventually. it has good chances of happening. And this new deal with NRG increases the odds of it happening. I mean, you have a clear energy play, a clear potential customer, and you have a clear demand for more data centers in the future. And a lot of regions in the US are constrained right now, which means, I mean, if you look at the electricity cost for many regions, North Virginia, you have a lot of demand. People want to build more data centers. Everybody is speaking the same language here. Texas may be a way to have a powered land scenario, a powered land infrastructure over there. And if it happens, we will be wealthy. We will be increasingly rich. It will be fantastic. So, I want to show you this quote. I told you you would have a lot of value in this video. Leave a like, subscribe, please comment. So I want to show you a question that was asked during the latest earnings call in the second quarter of 2025. And the last question was from Lawrence Goldstein from Santa Monica Partners. In case you don't know this man, he is a legendary investor that invested in TPL, Texas Pacific Land, the other company that owns land in Texas, for decades. I would say more than 70 years. So he knows this land very well. He has a fund called Santa Monica Partners Limited Partnership, and they've been outperforming the market for decades. He knows really well what he's doing. Guess what? He started buying LandBridge in Q1, I think, first quarter 2025. So you have the biggest, longest holding shareholder of TPL buying LandBridge now, asking questions to the management team. And actually, I've been listening to all the calls from LandBridge. This is the second question he asks in the earnings calls. The first one during, I think, Q2 2024. And now the second question, Q2 2025. Maybe one question per year. You never know. And the question is, I wonder what you could say about the fact that every single major, let's call them high-tech company, announces data centers all over the country. But we hear of nothing in the Permian Basin, so in Texas, in the Texas region. Nothing with you. I'm not asking about your company specifically. Yeah, because he already owns TPL and LandBridge, so I'm asking generically your neighbor, big landowner, TPL, Texas Pacific Land. It astounds me that we don't hear a word. We hear data center, billions here, billion there. Why do you suppose we don't hear a word about the Permian Basin? I will spoil you the fun and tell you the answer from the management team. The answer was not convincing. And they literally said, we are in a good position and they will come. We are pretty confident they will come. The data centers will come. What a poor answer. I mean, this was not a really convincing answer, to which Lawrence Goldstein answered, maybe they will come, but I don't believe you. I mean, so far, this is really strange. Maybe it is convincing for you, but it is not convincing for me. And what you lack in the Texas region, Permian Basin region, is population. You don't have a lot of inhabitants, population, trained workers that can operate all these lands. And to which management said, yeah, but we are pretty confident they will come. So it was a weak answer. Nobody knows if they are right or not. But again, you have to make a bet. As I told you here, this paragraph here, make your bet. If you wait right now and you say, what a weak answer, I don't believe one word management is saying, I don't believe them, they are crooks. Yeah, move away. Do something else with your life. Because if they are right, if one day we have an announcement of a new data center play, the stock will go up 30% in one day, 40% in one day. I mean, that's a play that we are all waiting for. And that's a lot of ifs, but you never know. And position yourself accordingly. Make your bet, as we say. It seems like Jerome Goldstein is having doubts, but he's still buying. You have other shareholders, Horizon Kinetics, a big fund, the largest shareholder of TPL, that is buying LandBridge. And they are saying that data centers will likely come in this area one day or later. So people, investors that know this subject very well are doubtful, but they still invest. Make your bet. Make your bet. Okay, so we already knew it was coming from the second quarter, the earnings report. And I have the quote. Yeah, I talked about this before. This was this announcement over there. Yeah, in summer 2025, you have a recent milestones, the Devon deal with water. And then this new gas turbine, this new plant, we are in works with an energy provider. Here we go. I already said this. And they said, we anticipate providing further details on the project's anticipated nameplate capacity, project timeline, and key milestones in a forthcoming joint press release. I think it was in August, right? Investor relations. I'm mistaken because of the dates. In Europe, we have the months before the date actually. Anyway, yeah, it was in August, and now we are in September. So 1 month after, 1 month and a half after saying this, they announced it publicly. Okay, things are moving. Things are moving. Okay, now I want to talk about Powerbridge. I told you would have a lot of content on this video, a lot of value. Okay, let me move away this, and let me talk about Powerbridge. Because if you don't know what Waterbridge is, let me do a quick recap. Okay, let me remove this. Fair enough. Okay, so you have a company that is called, this is private equity stuff. I was going to write PE for private equity, but it's not. Oh. What is happening? This is not the name of the fund. You have 5.5 point, which is a private equity fund. They own plenty of companies, 7, 8, 9 companies linked more or less to the energy sector, and they own LandBridge here. They own Waterbridge, as I told you before, the ones who are doing the costs, the capex, etc. And they also own Powerbridge. What is Powerbridge doing? They are doing anything they can to be welcoming to a data center play. The literal purpose of Powerbridge is to be friendly towards this energy play, gas supplier play, data center play. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, let me show proof of what I say. Powerbridge, they created in May this, they announced it with a $1 billion equity commitment from 5 Point Infrastructure. And you may wonder, okay, so $1 billion, is it big or not? Compared to what? And the size of 5 Point is $8 billion. So the private equity, the mother company, owns $5 billion of assets under management. They created Powerbridge with $1 billion. So 1 out of 8 is 12.5%. So yeah, it shows some commitment. It's not peanuts. 12% of your 5 Point company is allocated to create an entity supposed to welcome data centers, electricity, make gas suppliers happy and in line. This is literally the goal of this company. Okay. Now that we have created this powered land scenario, Waterbridge is the company that is managing the water, handling the water volumes, doing the heavy work, a lot of workers, a lot of costs, a lot of capex. They are developing everything on LandBridge's lands. And then you have Powerbridge. Powerbridge that is doing everything they can to be welcoming, etc. They are using LandBridge's land. So as I started this video, I said you have the core operations of LandBridge linked to the water and the optionality to Powerbridge. So you have two tailwinds, I would say, that will increase the revenue and the cash flows and the earnings, etc. for LandBridge. Two things that are moving in the right direction so far. So that's a lot of things happening at the same time. So I hope you still understand here, but the structure is quite simple. Okay, let me continue. The Powerbridge context, it was formed in May 2025. I mean, they were mentioning Powerbridge even in the interview in late 2024, but it was not really announced. So the announcement of Powerbridge was in May by 5 Point Infrastructure with up to $1 billion capital commitment. The mission is to develop gigawatt scale power data center campuses in North America, built on the 5 Point ecosystem. So LandBridge, so on their lands, Waterbridge to help with all the water, the cooling supply, and the partners like LNG right now, dedicated natural gas power plants. The strategic takeaway is that the energy partnership isn't a one-off. They have one agreement and they plan to do many more. It's part of a coordinated Powerbridge strategy. If you are surprised with this news we learned yesterday, just so you know, the management has been talking about this master plan for years. And I think I read almost everything that you can have on the internet related to all these entities. So this is the master plan, and the master plan is moving. And so far, so good. This positions LandBridge as more than a niche water landlord. It's part of an integrated digital infrastructure platform. Yeah, you have the water, you have all this recycling stuff that will happen, this will allow more energy players to come. And the hardest part when it comes to the management team and the commitment, the most difficult challenge they have is to attract the first data center on LandBridge's land. Because it will be the first one. It's a testing ground. It can fail. You can have many issues coordinated the wrong way. If the first data center is a success, you will have many others. They have the lands. They are aggressive. They can buy more lands. They can host way more data centers. I think right now, with the amount of lands they have, they can host, let's say, around 6 data centers. Pretty good. And it will give them a royalty on the electricity, all the data center plays. So now LandBridge is having several revenue streams. And you have the water, electricity, data center play. You have a spread with the electricity that they can take advantage of. All the water infrastructure that will be developed on their lands. Basically, if they succeed, LandBridge is a 20-year play. And if they are right, if the story continues, I will hold for 20 years. Because LandBridge has the potential to be a multi-bagger, absolute multi-bagger. But this is not for short-term people. And I don't believe you're watching the video, you are a short-term person. I mean, you're watching a video about a LandBridge that is just starting to create a master plan for the next 50 years, I would say. If they succeed, they will have so much cash flow. So much cash flow, actually. Okay, so this is how the thesis stacks up. You have the core business, water, Devon, and you will have all the players. That provides recurring revenue, recurring earnings, recurring cash flows. You have zero cost, zero capex. These two guys, Powerbridge and Waterbridge, are doing all the cost, the capex. LandBridge is asset light. You don't have any cost. You have 6 employees. I mean, you have nobody working here. They just collect the royalties. You have 15% growth for sustained period of time with high margins. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you have plenty of interviews from Horizon Kinetics, the biggest shareholders of TPL, that are mentioning this. They also say 15 to 20% guaranteed growth for LandBridge. That's a lot of optimism for people that have been invested in TPL, Texas Pacific Land, for 30 years now. They know what they're doing, and they are quite happy. I mean, these are the biggest shareholders for public shares of LandBridge. They know exactly what they're doing. So this anchors valuation and reduces the downside risk. In case the data center play fails, you will still have a promising business. in a promising region that can grow, let's say 15% annually for many, many years. And then you have the data center play, the free call option now. You have a huge upside if hyperscale tenant, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, or many other players commit. If you have one announcement, this will be huge. The potential to transform LandBridge from niche oil feed rate company to a digital infrastructure stock. And I'm still astonished to see the number of people that think LandBridge is an oil play. Even now, even after all these deals, announcement of Powerbridge, Waterbridge, I continue to see many people thinking that LandBridge is the same as a TPL. It's an oil play. If oil goes up, LandBridge will go up. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. And as I told you, the revenue for LandBridge is only 10% oil. Even if the oil price goes down, you will still need water for manufacturing the oil, for drilling. So it's a more stable business model, I would say. And actually, quick tip for you. For TPL, Texas Pacific Land, since 2016, I would say, 17, they have developed a water business, a water segment. So Texas Pacific Land, TPL, is an oil play, but for a few years now, they have been developing a water play. And if you go through the slides, the investor presentation, you see the oil play in red and the water play in blue since 2016. Here you go. See how little volatility you have for the blue lines compared to the red lines. Since 2022, oil prices went down, right? They peaked in 2022 and went down. So the revenue for the oil segment went down in red. But guess what? The net income, this is net income, not revenue. Net income for the water services is still trending up. You will have more volumes in this region, more drilling. And LandBridge is solely focused on this, which is great. You will have much more demand in the future. So we are at the early innings, but the momentum is building. That's a clear positive signal for all the LandBridge shareholders. Everything is helped by Waterbridge's IPO. As I told you, this is a company, Waterbridge here, WBI, Waterbridge Infrastructure, they just IPO'd a few days ago, a few weeks ago, very recent, and they will use the proceeds from the IPO to reduce the debt. They have a lot of leverage, and they will also use the proceeds to invest more. To invest where? To invest on LandBridge's land. Every good news for Waterbridge is a good news for LandBridge. Because if Waterbridge uses this cash to invest more infrastructure, LandBridge will get a royalty out of this infrastructure. So you welcome the Waterbridge IPO. You welcome the new investors' money, because this investors' money will be used to fund operations on LandBridge's land. Okay? So everything is helped by Waterbridge's IPO. More visibility to the water infrastructure business. Yeah, people can see operational and financial metrics now that we have official documents from Waterbridge. It's a public company. People start to understand how everything is moving. Not everybody, I have to say, but more people are starting to understand how everything is working together. Through its IPO, Waterbridge raised $600 million by selling 31 million shares at $20 each, which gives the company capital to grow, invest in more infrastructure, and reduce debt also. So pipelines, disposal facilities, recycling, so that's the infrastructure. The IPO gives legitimacy to the core water business of the ecosystem. It confirms that water infrastructure is a business investors are willing to value, which threatens the base under the LandBridge, Powerbridge plays. We are talking about recent companies, right? As I told you, LandBridge was created in 2021. Powerbridge is very new, so it's okay to not have full visibility. The fact that Waterbridge went public It's just opening the books to everybody, saying, okay, here we go. We have nothing to hide. We are not private anymore. Here is what we are going to have for the next 5 years. It gives them a lot of credibility, I would say. So now let's talk about the risks to flag, because you have many risks. As always, you have investments, you have rewards, opportunities, growth opportunities, multi-year opportunities, and then risks. So the execution, obviously, as I told you, you have data centers and power plants that will take years to come. The energy target is like 2029. The Devon deal is 2027. So how can you grow next year? What will be the source of income next year? Well, actually, Waterbridge committed to more water volume for 2026. Okay, so that will be an additional tailwind. More water, so more revenue, more royalties revenue for LandBridge. But what else? We don't know. For 2027, you will have Devon. What about 2028? I mean, how can you fuel the growth? So management needs to execute, needs to, I don't know, make an acquisition of new lands, new revenue, new deals. Also, you have a customer risk. You need a hyperscale cloud client to sign a PPA. Obviously, if you don't have a data center client, well, the optionality falls down. And you have accounting scrutiny. So I talked about the $8 million revenue recognition controversy. Like, it was a promise to say, okay, please use the $8 million when we sign a deal. Okay, that's fine. And they immediately recognize this as revenue. It's a little yellow flag, but it doesn't break the thesis, actually. And you have conflicts of interests. Actually, that's big. Because of the way this infrastructure is, they can negotiate with each entities. The CEO of LandBridge is the same as the CEO of Waterbridge. This is the same guy. So obviously he can cheat. This is the same guy. So obviously you can just move funds, postpone projects or advance projects, collect the cash up front. He is the boss for two companies. So obviously you have a huge conflict of interest. The chairman of LandBridge is the same as the chairman for 5 Point. So obviously you will have conflicts of interest because they want to control everything. He's not the same CEO for Powerbridge. He's just the CEO for these two companies, by the way. So you have huge conflicts of interest because they want to control everything. And this is also the way the business is made. If you want to know how the shareholder is, I mean, for LandBridge, you have two class of shares. The class, I don't know, A or B. The majority of the shares are A. So, I don't know, that's what, 50 million shares or something like this. And for the B, that's, let's say, 20 million. Something like this. What is available for us, public shareholders, retail investors, individual investors, are the Bs. So, we can only invest in a minority interest. The remaining and the most important part of LandBridge is the Class A that are private and owned by the mother company 5 Point Energy, 5 Point Infrastructure. So we don't have voting rights. We own nothing. We own a minority interest. Are you comfortable being a shareholder like this? Are you comfortable buying LandBridge stock? If you know this, you have a conflict of interest. You don't know what the future holds. You have to trust the management team. Yeah, this is why LandBridge is not a stock for everybody. You have clear risks that are here. And my goal as a portfolio manager is to know these risks and still continue to invest, which I'm doing right now. Okay, do I have something else? What's next for LandBridge? Oh, pretty interesting for you. The next press release that everybody expects is the announcement to secure a hyperscale customer. So that will be a critical milestone, and that will make the stock go up meaningfully, to sign a PPA or lease with a cloud provider. So without an anchor tenant, the energy power plant and data center plan can't move forward. This is what I said at the beginning of the video. You have a new deal with energy, but only if there is a data center that comes. Only if we will be here and give you as much gas as you want, but only if you have a clear client. If you don't have a cloud provider, the deal is off. And you have until 2029, 4 years, to make a customer come. They have the time. Honestly, they have the time. You have advanced permits and interconnection, monitoring progress on air permits, yes, and grid interconnection requests already filed. Regulation approvals are key before construction. Finalize power plant development timeline. Next updates should include the construction start date for the new plant in case it happens, a firm capex guidance and financing structure. What will fund this? Maybe this will be Powerbridge, on which land, where exactly. Projected COD, so commercial operational date, currently in late 2029. Capitalize on Powerbridge platform. Powerbridge is literally designed to help this optionality of a data center project. Energy, power. Watch for announcements of specific data center campuses under Powerbridge branding. Could see partnerships leveraging the LandBridge land plus the Waterbridge water plus the energy power in an integrated rollout. This is paradise for them. This is the dream scenario that can happen in a few quarters, in a few years. You have an announcement of a data center company and everything will be interconnected with LandBridge, Powerbridge, Waterbridge, everything in a clear circle. And this will be the dream scenario of having powered lands. This is what the chairman, David Capobianco, has been telling us for years. So they are working really hard to make this happen. I can guarantee this. If you check the track record of David Capobianco, the chairman, he is a very hard worker, I would say, a hard-working person that is reaching his goals. We'll see if it goes well for this plan. Threaten core water business. So without the optionality, just the core business, you can have improvements in the future. The Devon deal kicks in 2027, recurring cash flow base, more pore space agreements with other operators, more stability, waiting. You have market communications. Yeah, maybe in the future weeks, in the future months, you will have more press releases. So more announcements with other companies maybe. And you can have many other energy plays that are collaborating with LandBridge. So updates, earnings calls, Powerbridge announcements, we will see how it goes. And am I done with my notes? I'm done. The next earnings call is soon. I mean, it's August, September, October, November. So it will be soon. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what will go over there. But this was the video you needed to clearly understand the new updated situation with LandBridge. If you like this content, I have an investing coaching program. In this program, you will learn a complete investing process. You will learn how to find good stock ideas, how to properly value stocks, when to buy, when to sell, so that you can build a strong portfolio with great companies. Additionally, in this coaching program, you will have access to my personalized guidance for long-term results. We will do weekly calls where we analyze stocks together, and you will have access to my private number available 24/7 for full support. If you have any questions, I'm here to help. Click the first link in the description below to get more information. You will get a short video that explains how everything works completely for free. No need for your mail address. Just click the first link in the description and I'll see you on the other side.